Hi, welcome back. My name is Aaliyah, and my channel is dedicated to everything I wish I learned in design school. So, in school, we learn the important relationship between interior designers and contractors, but it's kind of left at that. So, today, joining me, I have the CEO of Protecti, and we're going to learn about the perspective contractors have and how interior designers and contractors work together. So, please welcome, all the way in Italy, Giacomo. Well, hello, and thank you so much for joining me today, and cheers.
Thank you, Alia. Thank you. Thank you
Yes,
for inviting me.
absolutely. It's so great to meet you. This is one of the best parts about having this channel and creating this platform is being able to meet people and having other guests tell me about other people to interview. So this has just been a ripple effect of amazingness. So I just wanted to know a little bit more about your background for people wanting to get to know who you are. So if you could just tell a little bit about your background and how you ended up in the marine industry.
Thanks for inviting me, first of all. It's a pleasure. So I was born and grew up in Genoa, which is one of the main hub in Italy and in Europe for the cruise shipping industry. So back in the 90s, my father, together with other partners, founded an outfitting company which is called Spencer Contract, that after some years became one of the leading companies for cruise ship interiors. Therefore, I would say that the marine industry was a bit in my destiny, in a way. So when I finished then my university studies, I joined Spencer, and I was in charge for the international new builds project, mainly in STX shipyard, which is based in France, Saint-Nazaire. And after that experience in Spencer, I got in touch with the owner of Protecti, which at the time was Mr. Paolo Passalacqua. And together with him, we decided to open up a new business unit in Singapore to develop a Protecti business in the Far East area. So I've been working there in Singapore for about the last 5 years, and
Oh, wow.
it has been, yes, a great and amazing experience.
Yeah, so for anyone who might not know what Protecti is or what you do, could you just talk a little bit about what Protecti does?
Precetti a few years ago was acquired by the Wave Group, which is now one of the biggest and leading outfitting company for cruise ship interiors. So basically, the Wave offers turnkey services for cruise ship interiors, either for new buildings and refitting projects. The Wave is able to cover almost all the interior areas on board the cruise ship. So we're talking about restaurants, bars, theaters, open decks, accommodation, and also catering areas. We manage the project from the executive design to the final installation on board. The Wave has also a global experience, so we have factories and offices a bit all around the world. Our headquarters is in Italy, in Europe. Then we have also a factory for bathroom units in Poland, and we have also business unit in US with the base in Miami and Asia
Wow.
as well. Okay, yes.
So many places. For anyone in interior design just starting, learn a little bit about connections you'll make in projects, working with contractors. But in school, we tend to not really go into those relationships and learn about how important they are. Why someone would need a contractor for a project, what a contractor is, and what does that initial conversations look like when you're starting to work with interior designers and contractors?
A contractor company is mainly a construction company employed by the client, that in our case are the cruise owners and shipyards.
Mhm.
Usually they are called upon the advice of an interior designer company, can be a company or can be someone inside the client as well. So the contractor company is basically responsible and in charge for the coordination and the execution part of the project. So in the marine sector, the contractor is in charge for many aspects. First aspect is the design and feasibility studies. So basically the contractor supports and assist the client in the preliminary phase of the project, carrying out all the feasibility studies and assessment of the existing status of the ship, and possibly also developing innovative solution. The second phase is the engineering part. So we basically follow the architectural concept that is prepared by the interior designer, and our technical department develops the engineering and executive drawings to transform the ideas of the interior designer into practical solution. Then there is the third phase, that is the manufacturing. So we start from the shop drawings, which have to be approved, of course, by the interior designer, and we identify and source all the various materials, and we develop and produce customized elements that later on will be pre-assembled and will become the final product. Then there is the fourth phase, that is the project management. So basically project management is engaged from the very starting point of the project, not only to coordinate the design and the manufacturing aspects, but also from a planning, logistical, and installation point of view. And then there is the final phase, that is the installation on board, that is still executed by by the contractor, the same Manpower, under the guidance of a specified project management team that is composed by supervisor, project, and site manager. So it's quite complex overall.
Yes, it is. What are the most difficult parts about working on a project, and maybe the easiest parts, like phases? I know you talked a little bit about each phase. In your opinion, what do you think is the most difficult and the easiest?
Projects have to be delivered always with quality, on time, and within the budget. So these three elements must be present jointly for a project to be, let's say, successful. In our sector, so mainly in the refitting, the most challenging part is for sure time. Since from the beginning of the project to its completion, there are only few months overall. So cruises are already sold the day after the contractual date completion. So basically there is no margin of error. So I would say that time is the most critical part. For the easiest part, I wouldn't say that there is anything easy in our business, but I would say that traveling the world and following the ships is for sure the most enjoyable part, and also meeting with the new people is people from all around the world is something that is really special.
The relationship between interior designers and contractors are, of course, very important. So when it comes to communication, and I know communication is very key, what are some strategies you have noticed for clear communication between designers and contractors to have a smooth dry dock or installation?
I think there is a combination of factors. Definitely the contractor must have a perfect knowledge of the design intent and must accommodate all the interior designer's ideas whenever it is possible, of course, in terms of technical solution and materials resourcing. I think that the most important factor is a good and constant communication throughout the project and between the various parts involved. That is for sure the most important factor. So I would say yes, communication and have a clear idea of design intent that is, designed by the interior designer. So,
what are some lessons you have learned working with interior designers?
I think that what I found in the interior design that I worked with is that they are extremely curious people and always focus on new ideas and innovative solution and technologies. So I think this is a fundamental aspect in our sector, and I think also contractors that are much more focused on the executional part, they should try to be more innovative and active in this respect.
Mhm.
This is what I learned.
What are some tips that you could give interior designers working with contractors?
Usually, contractors works for interior designers, so the question should be overturned. But most of the interior designers who are used to work with understand that the time is always a critical part of our job. So they are really flexible and they understand, the criticalities that we have to face every day.
Mhm.
So they are flexible in terms of material sourcing, to find alternatives and also to find, alternative technical solution because sometimes, ideas cannot be always, done in terms of, real situation that you find on board. So I would say yes, flexibility is one of the most important aspects also for
Mhm.
interior design working with contractors.
Yes. We all know dry docks, installation days never go perfect, and that's just a part of design. What are some of the strategies or lessons you have learned working with designers and contractors when you do reach a problem and you need to solve it? What are some strategies that you could give designers?
The good part of dry docks is that basically during the installation phase, all the parties involved, they eat, sleep, and live together on the same boat. It's really like this. So it is like being in a big family for 2/3 weeks, depending on the duration of the project of the dry docks. So the installation that are established are really really solid. When you, the client, and the interior designer are there on board the ship, everybody really works as a unique team.
Mm.
So everybody look for solution to reach the same common goals because at the end, the completion has to be successful for everybody. So this is something that is really uncommon, I think, and is special compared to all the other industry.
We talked a little bit about in the beginning, books and university, you can't learn everything, and I understand that. So, what have you learned now working in the industry that you wish you knew, or any advice that you could give anyone joining the industry?
So yes, in my personal experience, I think the very turning point of my working career was the experience in Singapore and the Far East, during which basically I had to take important responsibility in terms of managing and developing the company business. Basically, this gave me the opportunity to meet many interesting people from all around the world and also gave me an international mindset and open mind, which I think nowadays is crucial for any type of business. If I have to, if I can give an advice to your guest, is basically to not be afraid of making mistakes in your life, and not on taking also responsibility, and basically all having always a passion and love in what you do, because if you love what you do, everything you know becomes much better.
Yes.
So,
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, and it was
thanks to you,
so great
Elia.
to meet you.